Jaya Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtar Shata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shri Gurudev Ki Jai Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtar Shata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtar Shata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtar Shata Shishimar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtar Shata Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitila Pravishta Maha-Bhagavat Śrīla Gokṣaras Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Nitila Pravishta Śrīla Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Nitila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Patadasha Gunath Shar Gosai Prabhu Ki Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai नाम Śrīla Haridas Thakur Ki Jai प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदत्त गिरिराज महाराज की जय श्री राधा कुंद श्याम कुंद की जय श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय श्री भक्ति देवी की जय श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जय श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल Dandava pranams Gargaraji and Madhavi Didi Hari Bol Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaradhikaya Priyatmane Śrīmad Bhakti Vedanta Niti Namine Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Vedanta Niti Namine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarbhaya Namo Namaha Yang Jantam Apeta Krityam Dvaipayano Virhaka Tara Ajuhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taravo Bhinedu Stang Sarva Putri Dayam Munimanatosmi Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Shrinvatang Swakatha Krishna Punya Ravana Kirtana Ridantasto Yabhadrani Vidhunoti Suritsatam Nashta Prayeshvabhadreshu Nityang Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki Tavai vasmi na jivami tvaya vina Iti vigyaya radhe tvam nayamam charanantikam Bhaktya vihina aparadha lakshay Kshiptashtakamaदितरङ्गमध्ये Kripa tvam sharanam prapanna vrinde namaste charanarvindam Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, it looks like my internet's not very stable today. What to do? Oh my god, it's only getting 2 bars. Dandavat pranams, Rohit Radhakrishnan ji. And Bilva Mangal Prabhu, if you're watching. Alright, yeah, as I know yesterday I meant that I was not going to be reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam today, and that we were going to do the shloka class instead, the going over Rupa Shiksha instead, but there's been a change of plans, and we're swapping them around. So tomorrow there's not going to be Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and we're going to do the Rupa Shiksha program. So, alright, and I'm just working on finishing the video now. I probably will have it finished within the next, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours, like 3 hours from now, I'm guessing. Alright, so let's go. Today's going to be a short reading, but let's read the summary of what we read about yesterday, the story of. Just going to make the text bigger. Okay, 1 second. There. Okay. The witch who became a mother. In the absence of Nanda Maharaj. No, wait. We read about Shakata story yesterday. Okay. When Kṛṣṇa was 3 months old, one day he attempted to rise and turn around on his own. This stage of the child's growth is celebrated by the parents as the Utthana ceremony. So, Mother Yaśodā conducted a bathing ceremony for Kṛṣṇa. During the event, seeing Kṛṣṇa sleepy, Yaśodā made him lie down on a bed under a household cart. She then became busy in attending to the guests. After a while, Kṛṣṇa woke up and began to cry for his mother's attention, and, as is common for infants, he threw his legs upward. When Kṛṣṇa's tender foot touched the cart, it immediately broke and was dismantled, making a huge sound, astonishing everyone. Yaśodā hastily picked up the child, and Nanda had the Brahmins chant Vedic mantras for Kṛṣṇa's safety. Actually, a ghostly demon named Utkacha had entered the cart, the Shakata, and had wanted to kill Kṛṣṇa by falling upon him. I didn't know his name, Utkacha. Kṛṣṇa, however, effortlessly delivered him with the gesture of an infant, throwing his legs into the air while crying for his mother's attention. And now we're going to read about Kṛṣṇa's exciting flight, the killing of Tṛnāvarta. Haribol Kishore Prabhu and Rukmini Didi, Haribol, Dandavat Pranam. So let's see, what's the last topic? The Brahmins, who were completely expert in chant Vedic hymns, were all yogis fully equipped with mystic powers. Whatever blessings they spoke were certainly never fruitless. Okay. Ekadaro hamadam lalayanti sutang sati karimanam shishorvodhum nasehe girikuttavat. One day, at Kṛṣṇa's appearance, Mother Yaśodā was patting her son on her lap, but suddenly she felt the child to be heavier than a mountain, and she could no longer bear his weight. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lalayanti. Sometimes a mother lifts her child, and when the child falls in her hands, and the mother also enjoys pleasure. Yaśodā used to do this, but this time Kṛṣṇa became very heavy, and she could not his weight. Under the circumstances, it is to be understood that Kṛṣṇa was aware of the coming of Tṛnāvarta Sura, who would take take him far away from his mother. Kṛṣṇa knew that when Tṛnāvarta came away from his mother's lap, mother would be greatly bereaved. He did not want his mother to suffer any difficulty from the demon. Therefore, because he is the source of everything, janmadasya, he assumes the heavy entire universe. The child was on the lap of Yaśodā, who was therefore in possession of everything in the world. But when the child assumed such heaviness, she had to put him down in order to give Tṛnāvarta an opportunity to take him away and play with him for some time before to the lap of his mother. She had to give up Tṛnāvarta the opportunity. Bhūmau nidāyatam gopī vismita bharapīdit mahapurushamadhadhyo jagatam asakarmasu. Feeling the child to be as heavy as the entire universe, and therefore being anxious, thinking that perhaps the child was attacked by some other ghost or demon, the astonished mother Yaśodā put the child down on the ground and began to think Narayan. Foreseeing disturbances, she called for the Brahmins to count happiness, and then she engaged in other household affairs. She had no alternative than to remember the lotus feet of Narayan, for she could not understand that Kṛṣṇa was the original source of everything. Purport. Not understand that Kṛṣṇa is the heaviest of all heavy things, and that Kṛṣṇa rests within Matstani Sarvabhutani, as confirmed in Gita 9.4. Maya tatang idvam jagad avyakta murtina. Kṛṣṇa is everywhere. Kṛṣṇa is everywhere in his impersonal form, and everything rests upon him. Nonetheless, na chaham teshvavastita. Kṛṣṇa is not everywhere. Mother Yaśodā was unable to understand this philosophy because she was dealing with Kṛṣṇa as his real mother by the arrangement of not understanding the importance of Kṛṣṇa. She could only seek shelter of Narayan for Kṛṣṇa's safety and call the Brahmins to counteract the situation. Daityanamna Tṛnāvarta Kaṁsa pranotita Chakravarta sarupena jaharasi namarbhakam. While the child was sitting on the ground, a demon named Tṛnāvarta, who was a servant of Kaṁsa's, came there as a whirlwind at Tṛnāvarta, who was a servant of Kaṁsa's, came there as a whirlwind at Kaṁsa's instigation, and very easily carried the child away into the air. Purport. Kṛṣṇa's heaviness was unbearable for the child's mother, but when Tṛnāvarta came, he immediately carried the child away. This was another demonstration of Kṛṣṇa's inconceivable energy. When the Tṛnāvarta demon came, Kṛṣṇa became lighter than the grass, so that the demon could carry him away. This was Ananda Chinmaya Ras, Kṛṣṇa's blissful, transcendental pleasure. Gokulam sarvam avrinvan mushnang stakshung sirenubhi hirayan sumahaghora tena pradishodisha. Covering the whole land of Gokula with particles of dust, that demon acting on whirlwind covered every vision and began vibrating everywhere with a greatly fearful sound. Purport. Tṛnāvarta assumed the form of a whirlwind and covered with a dust storm the whole tract of land known as Gokula, so that no one could see even the nearest. Muhurtam abhavar goshtam rajasa tamasa vratam sutam shodana pasya tasmin nyastavati yata. For a moment, the whole pasturing ground was overcast with dense darkness from the dust storm, and Mother Yaśodā was unable to find her son where she had placed him. Napashyat kaśchanatmanam parang chapi vimohita Tṛnāvarta nirshishtabhi sharkarabhir upadruta. Because of the bits of sand thrown out by Tṛnāvarta, people could not see themselves or anyone else. Thus, they were illusioned and disturbed. Iti kara pavana chakra pangshuvarshe sutapadavim abala vilakshamata sutapadavim abala vilakshamata ati karunam anusmaranta shochar bhuvi patita mrittavatsaka yatago. Sorry, I couldn't get that meter right. Ati karunam. Okay, interesting meter. Okay, got it. Because of the dust storm stirred up by the strong whirlwind, Mother Yaśodā could find no trace of her son, nor could she understand why. Thus she fell on the ground like a cow who has lost her calf and began to lament very pitifully. Okay, let me try this meter again. Ruditamanus. This is an interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 lagus and 7 lagus. Whoa. Okay. Ruditamanus nishamya tatra gopyo Vrishamanutaptadhiyo Shrupurnamukhya Ruruduranupalabhya Nandasunam Pavana Uparata Pangshu Varshavege. Okay, this is interesting. This line has 7 laghus, and then a guru, and then laghu. No, then, yeah. And then this line is different. So this first line is different from the second line. Because this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. And then, anyway, sorry. When the force of the dust storm and the when the force of the dust stormed and the winds subsided, Yaśoda's friends, the other gopīs, approached Mother Yaśodā, hearing her pitiful crying. Not seeing Kṛṣṇa present, they too felt very much aggrieved and joined Mother Yaśodā in crying, their eyes full of tears. Purport. This attachment of the gopīs to Kṛṣṇa is wonderful and transcendental. The center of all the activities of the gopīs was Kṛṣṇa. When Kṛṣṇa was there, they were happy, and when Kṛṣṇa was not there, they were unhappy. Thus, Yaśodā was lamenting Kṛṣṇa's absence. The other ladies also began to cry. It's tricky. Tṛnāvarta shantarayo vatyarupa dharo dharan Kṛṣṇa na bhogato gantum na shaknor bhuribharabhrit. Having assumed the form of a fearful whirlwind, the demon Tṛnāvarta Kṛṣṇa very high into the sky. But when Kṛṣṇa became heavier than the demon had to stop his force and could go no further. Purport. Here is a competition in yogic power between Kṛṣṇa and Tṛnāvartasura. By practicing mystic yoga, asuras generally attain some perfection in the 8 siddhis or perfections, namely anima, laghima, mahima, bhakti, prakamya, ishitva, and kamavasayita. Although a demon may acquire such power to a very limited extent, he cannot compete with the mystic power of Kṛṣṇa, for Kṛṣṇa is Yogeshwar, the source of all mystic power. Yatra Yogeshwar. No one can compete with Kṛṣṇa. Sometimes, of course, acquired a fragmental portion of Krishna's mystic power, asuras demonstrate their power to the foolish public and assert themselves to be God, not knowing that God is the supreme Yogeshwar. Here also we see that Tṛnāvarta assumed the Mahima Siddhi and took Krishna away as if Krishna. But Krishna also became a mystic Mahima Siddha. Carrying him, he became so heavy that who was usually accustomed to carrying him could not place him down on the ground. So that's Mahima, huh? No. What is it? Anima, Mahima, right? That's becoming heavy. Laghima is becoming light. So yeah, Mahima Siddhi. Thus, Tṛnāvarta had been able to take Krishna away in the presence of Mother Yaśodā. But when Krishna, high in the sky, assumed the Mahima Siddhi, the demon, able to go further, was obliged to stop his force and come down according to Krishna's desire. One should not, therefore, compete with Krishna's mystic power. Devotees automatically have all mystic power, but they do not like to compete with Krishna. Instead, they fully surrender to Krishna, and power is demonstrated by Krishna's mercy. Devotees can also, Devotees can show mystic yoga so powerful that a demon could not even dream of it, but they never try to demonstrate it for their personal sense gratification. Whatever they do is for the service of the Lord, and therefore they are always in a position superior to that of the demons. That's kind of cool, actually. They have all the mystic powers, so like all of our acharyas and everything like that, they could easily become lighter than, they can have the siddhi of Laghima becoming super light, or Mahima becoming really heavy. There are many karmis, yogis, and jnanis who artificially try to compete with Krishna, and thus, ordinary foolish people who do not care to hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from authorities consider some rascal yogi to be Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of God. At the present moment, there are many so-called babas who present themselves as incarnations of God by showing some insignificant mystic wonder, and foolish people regard them as God because of lacking knowledge of Krishna. So the pure devotee has all these mystic powers. They don't use them because there's no need. What was it? Okay. Oh, I just wanted to check to see if the mic lots of times doesn't connect. Dang it, the mic was not connected this whole time. Okay, 1 second. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. There. Tam ashmanam manyamana atma guru mattaya gale grihita utsrashtum nashaknor arbhutar bhakam. Because of Krishna's weight, Tṛnāvarta considered him to be like a great mountain or a hunk of iron. But because Krishna had caught the demon's neck, the demon was unable to throw him off. He therefore thought of the child as wonderful, since he could neither bear the nor cast aside the burden. Purport. Tṛnāvarta intended to take Krishna up in the sky and kill him, but Krishna enjoyed the pastime of riding on Tṛnāvarta's and traveling for a while in the sky. Thus, Tṛnāvarta's attempt to kill Krishna failed, while Krishna, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Vigraha, enjoyed this pastime. Now, since Tṛnāvarta was falling because of Krishna's heaviness, he wanted to save himself by throwing Krishna off from his neck, but was unable to do so because Krishna held him very tightly. Consequently, this would be the last time for Tṛnāvarta's yogic power. Now he was going to die by the arrangement of Krishna. Yeah, Krishna was a little baby. He couldn't even walk around yet or anything, so he couldn't see anything. He couldn't see all of Vraj. So Krishna got to see, he got to see the entirety of Vraj from very high up. Grahana Nishchesto Daityanirgatalochana Avyaktaravat Sahabalo Vyasur Vraje. With Kṛṣṇa grasping him by the throat, Tṛnāvarta choked, unable to make even a sound or even to move his hands and legs. His eyes popping out, like Raskula's Gurudev would always say, his eyes popping out, the demon lost his life and fell, along with the little boy, down to the ground of Vraj. How do you say popping out in Sanskrit? Nirgata lochana. Nirgata means to come out. Tamantarikshat patitam shilayam vishirna sarayavankaralam puram yata rudra sharena vidham striyo rudatyo dadrishu sametaha. While the gopīs who had gathered were crying for Kṛṣṇa, the demon fell from the sky onto a big slab of stone, dislocated, as if he had been pierced by the arrow of Lord Shiva, like Tripurasura. Purport. In transcendental life, as soon as devotees of the Lord merge in lamentation, they immediately experience the Lord's transcendental activities and merge in transcendental bliss. Actually, such devotees are always the bliss, and such apparent calamities provide a further impetus for that bliss. Pradaya matripatihrita vismita Kṛṣṇam chatasyo rasilam pamanam Tang swasti mantang purushadanitam Vihaya samrityu mukhat pramuktam Gopyascha gopa kilananda mukhya labdva puna prapurati vamodam. The gopis immediately picked Kṛṣṇa up from the chest of the demon and delivered him free from all inauspiciousness to Mother Yaśodā. Because the child, although taken into the sky by the demon, was unhurt and now free from all danger and misfortune, the gopis and cowherd men, headed by Nanda Maharaj, were extremely happy. Purport. The demon fell flat from the sky, and Kṛṣṇa was playing on his chest very happily, uninjured and free from misfortune. Not at all disturbed because of being taken high into the sky by the demon. Kṛṣṇa was playing and enjoying. The opposite of disturbed. He was delighted. This is Ananda Chinvasa Vigraha. In any condition, Kṛṣṇa is Satchid Ananda Vigraha. He has no unhappiness. Others might have thought that he was in difficulty because the demon's chest was too broad to play on. Others might have thought that he was in difficulty, but because the demon's chest was sufficiently broad to play on, the baby was happy in all respects. It was most astonishing that although the demon went so high into the sky, the child did not. Therefore, the child had been saved virtually from the mouth of death. Now that all the inhabitants of Vrindavan were happy. Aho patatyadbhutam esha rakshasa palo nivrittam gamito bhyagat puna hingsra swapena vihingsita kala sadhu samatvena bhayad vimuchyate. It is most amazing that although this innocent child was taken away by the Rakshasa to be eaten, he has returned without having been killed or even injured. Because this demon was envious, cruel, and sinful, he has been killed by his own sinful activities. This is the law of nature. An innocent devotee is always protected by the Supreme Personality, and a sinful person is always vanquished for his sinful life. Purport. Kṛṣṇa consciousness means innocent devotional life. I like that. Kṛṣṇa consciousness means innocent devotional life, and a sadhu is one who is fully devoted to Kṛṣṇa. As confirmed by Kṛṣṇa in Bhagavad Gita 9:30, Jate mam ananya bhak sadhur eva samantavya. Fully attached to Kṛṣṇa is a sadhu. Nanda Maharaj, the gopīs, and other cowherd men could not understand that Kṛṣṇa was the Supreme Personality of Godhead playing a human child, and that his life was not endangered under any circumstances. Rather, because of their intense parental love, they thought that Kṛṣṇa was an innocent child and had been saved by the Supreme Lord. In the material world, because of intense lust and desire for enjoyment, one becomes implicated in sinful life more and more. Kama esha kurajo guna samudbhava. Therefore, the quality of fear is one of the aspects of material life. Ahara nidra bhayamaitunanga. But if one becomes Kṛṣṇa conscious, the process of devotional service, shravanam kirtanam, diminishes one's polluted life of material existence, and one is purified and protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam swakatha Kṛṣṇa punya shravana kirtana. Devotional life, one has such faith is one of the 6 kinds of surrender. Rakshasyatiti vishvasa. That's Hari Bhakti Vilas 1:676. And actually, Sundar Gopal found the origin of this, which the source hasn't been found anywhere, like in any of our granthas or anything, even by our Goswamis. But then Sundar Gopal found an ancient scripture called the Lakshmi Tantra, and he found this verse. One of the processes of surrender is that one should simply depend on Kṛṣṇa, convinced that he will give one all protection. That Kṛṣṇa will protect his devotee is a fact. Nanda Maharaj and the other inhabitants of Vrindavan accepted this vividly, although they did not know that the Supreme Lord was present before them. Therefore, there have been many instances in which, like Prahlad Maharaj or Dhruva Maharaj, has been put in difficulty even by his father, but has been saved under all circumstances. Therefore, our only business is to become Kṛṣṇa conscious on Kṛṣṇa for all protection. Kignastapashchirnam adhashajarchanam purteshta dhattam uttaso hridam yat sampareta punareva balako dishtya sabandhun pranayan upastita. Nanda Maharaj and the others said, we must previously have performed austerities for a long time, worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, performed pious activities for public life, constructing public roads and wells, and also given charity, as a result of which this boy, although faced with death, has returned to give happiness to his relatives. Purport. Nanda Maharaj confirms that by pious activities one can become a sadhu, so that one will be happy at home and one's children will be protected. In Shastra there are karmis and jnanis, especially for karmis, by which they can become pious and happy, even in material life. According to Vedic civilization, one should perform activities for the benefit of the public, such as constructing public roads, planting trees on both roads so that people can walk in the shade, and constructing public wells so that everyone can take water without difficulty. One should perform austerity to control one's desires, and one must simultaneously worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus one is pious, and as a result, one is happy even in material conditions of life. It's an interesting purport, huh? Drishtvar bhutani bahusho nanda brihadvane vasudeva vacho bhuyo manayam asavismita. Having seen all these incidents in Brihadvan, Nanda Maharaj became more and more astonished, and he remembered the words spoken to him by Vasudeva in Mathura. Nanda Maharaj has a lot of respect for Vasudeva, doesn't he? I think this might be like the 4th time that it's mentioned, Nanda Maharaj's astonishment by Vasudeva's. Or I guess this is different. He's astonished by Krishna, but still. Ekadarbhakam daya sankam aropya bhamini prasnutam payayam asa stanang sneha paripluta. One day, Mother Yaśodā, wait, let me just check everything's working properly. Okay. One day, Mother Yaśodā, having taken Krishna up and placed tap, was feeding him milk from her breast with maternal affection. The milk was from her breast, and the child was drinking it. Pita praya sajanani sutasya ruchira smitam mukham lalayati rajan jimbrato dadrishe idam Rodhasi jyotiranikam suryenduvahni shwasanam buddhingscha duhitrir vanani bhutani yani stira jangami. Look at that. Duhitrir. O King Parikshit, when the child Krishna was almost finishing his mother's milk, and Mother Yaśodā was looking at his beautiful, brilliantly smiling face, the baby yawned, and Mother Yaśodā saw in his mouth the whole sky, the higher planetary system and the earth, the luminaries in all directions, the sun, the moon, fire, air, the seas, islands, mountains, rivers, forests, and all kinds of living entities, moving and non-moving. Purport. By the arrangement of Yogamaya, Krishna's times with Mother Yaśodā were all regarded as ordinary. So here was an opportunity for Krishna to show his mother that the whole universe is situated within him. And in his small form, Krishna was kind enough to show his mother the Virat Rup, the universal form, so seeing what kind of child she had on her lap. The rivers had been mentioned here as the daughters of the mountains, Nagangs Duhitri. It is the flowing of the rivers that makes big forests possible. There are living entities everywhere, some of them moving and some of them not moving. No, this is a special feature of God's creation. Saviksha Vishvasa Rajan Sanjatave Patu Samilya Mrigavakshi Netre Asid Suvismita. When Mother Yaśodā saw the whole universe within the mouth of her child, her heart began to throb, and in astonishment, she wanted to close her restless eyes. Purport. Because of pure maternal love, Mother Yaśodā thought that this wonderful child playing so many tricks must have had some disease. She did not appreciate the wonders shown by her child. Rather, she wanted to close her eyes. She was expecting another danger, and therefore her eyes became restless like those of a deer cub. This was all the arrangement of Maya. The relationship between Mother Yaśodā and Krishna is one of pure maternal love. In that love, Mother Yaśodā did not very much appreciate the display of personality of Godhead's opulences. At the beginning of this chapter, 2 extra verses sometimes appear. Evam bahuni karmani gopanam sham sayoshitam Nandasya Geheva Vride Kurvam Vishnu Janardana. In this way, to chastise and kill the demons, the child Kṛṣṇa demonstrated many activities in the house of Nanda Maharaj, and the inhabitants of Vraj enjoyed these incidents. Evam Savavride Vishnur Nandagehe Janardana Kurvam Anishamanandam Gopalanam Soyoshitam. To increase the transcendental pleasure of the Gopas and the Gopīs, Kṛṣṇa, the killer of all demons, was thus raised by his father and mother, Nanda and Yaśodā. Śrīpad Vijaya also adds another verse after this third verse in this chapter. Vistarene hakarunyat sarva papa pranashanam vaktumarhasi dharmagya dayalus tvam iti prabho. Parikshit Maharaj then requested Shukadeva Goswami to continue speaking narrations about the pastimes of Kṛṣṇa, so that the king could enjoy from them transcendental bliss. Sorry, I messed that up. Let me reread that. Parikshit Maharaj then requested Shukadeva Goswami to continue speaking such narrations about the pastimes of Kṛṣṇa, so that the king could enjoy from them transcendental bliss. Thus, Vedanta purports of the 10th canto, 7th chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled The Killing of the Demon Tṛnāvarta. Okay, so that's our reading for today. Next, I'll talk afterwards. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Guru Dharvika Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Hari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Nitila Pavishtam Vishnupad Ashtatarashata Shishimar Bhaktivedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shri Guru Dev Ki Jai, Nitila Pavishtam Vishnupad Ashtatarashata Shishimar Bhaktivedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitila Pavishtam Vishnupad Ashtatarashata Shishimar Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nitpavishtam Vishnupad Ashtatarashtatashmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai, Vishnupad Ashtatarashtatashmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nitila Pavishta Maha Bhagavat Shila Goksharas Babaji Maharaj, Nitila Pavishta Shila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai, Nitila Pavishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai, Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jeev Gopal Bhattadasha Raghunath, Shar Gosai Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari, Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Thakur Ki Jai, Prem se koho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Vraja Mandala Savan Dham Ki Jai Sarva Abhishta Bharata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kund Ki Jai Shri Muna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai Shri Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya Ki Jai Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind Jai Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo Jai Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Jai Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashaja Krishna Bhakti Pradade Vatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sandubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams everybody. Can't find a picture of high-res picture. Anyways, doesn't matter. Oh, and Rohit Radhakrishnan ji. Yes. The various asuras and the Lord's Leela are compared to anarthas. They represent an interesting study. Yeah, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains this in Hita, right? He goes through all the demons and discusses what they represent. So Tṛnāvarta is false pride arising from material scholarship and bogus philosophies. Cool. Dandavat pranams Rukmini Didi. So tomorrow we're going to do Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam reading. We're going to do Rupa Shiksha Bhāgavatam reading. Then the next day, on the 28th, I'm going to be traveling to Jagannath Puri. I will be here on the 28th morning though, so I can still read. So maybe we should read Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. Yeah, we'll finish Srila Vishwanath. Yeah, we'll do that. And then I won't be able to read on the 29th, unfortunately, that's the day I'll be arriving in Puri. I'm arriving at 7:30 in the morning. So yeah, won't be able to read. But that's Gadadhar's disappearance day and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's disappearance day. So unfortunately, I won't be able to read that day. I mean, maybe I can, I don't know. And then the day after that, again, I'm going to be in Puri, and it's Gundicha Mandir Marjan day. So we usually leave early in the morning, and so I won't be able to read on that day either. I'm actually planning recording at Gundicha Mandir the next Rupa Shiksha verse, which is all about the upashakas, all the anarthas that we need to get rid of. And it's pretty much the same katha that Gurudev would always discuss. Gundicha Mandir Marjan Day goes through all the different kinds of anarthas and all the impediments, what we have to cleanse ourselves from. So it's, I think, the best day of the year that could have had those two verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's pretty perfect. So yeah, I'm thinking of just doing like a selfie thing and standing in front of Gundicha Mandir, doing the whole program. Then, and then after that will be the first. The first is Rath Yatra day. But that day we don't really do anything in the morning, so I'll read on Rath Yatra day, but I'll probably read about Rath Yatra that day. And then the next day, the second. So I guess we'll continue reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam on either the second or the third. Probably the third, because it might be nice to read 2 days about Rath Yatra. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when we get there. Dandavat pranams, everybody. And also, I will be making the next Vainavan video. I actually stayed up till 2:30 this morning working on it, and then I continued working on it again at 5 o'clock. No, 5 this morning. So I really wanted to finish it last night, but I just got tired. And so I'll be finished that in a couple hours from now, maybe like 3 hours from now. And take a look. you can check out the Vine of Devotion YouTube channel. And in that video, I go a lot more a bit more heavily into the Bengali grammar. And I think it's going to be a good one. I don't know. I'm feeling happy about it. So, Kishore Prabhu, no, Gundicha Mandir. But so what I usually do is I clean the outside. Because Mahaprabhu, right? It explains in Chaitanya Charitamrita that didn't just clean Gundicha Mandir, he even cleaned the whole outside of Gundicha Mandir. And then after he finished cleaning Gundicha Mandir, then he went to the Nrsingadev temple. He cleans that temple. So that's usually is I clean the outside of the temple, and then I go to the Nrsingadev Mandir, and then I clean the Nrsingadev temple. Because nobody really cleans the Nrsingadev temple, not so many people. One year I went to clean the Nrsingadev temple, and I was throwing water everywhere. Like the whole place was covered with water. I was throwing buckets and all the Vaishnava. And then right after that, all of our devotees went there, and then they had breakfast there, and the whole ground was wet. And so everybody was sitting on the wet ground. It was all my fault. Nobody knew that it was my fault, but yeah, it was pretty bad. Okay. Jai Shri Radhe. See you all the day after tomorrow. Or for those of you joining the program, see you tomorrow. Hari Bol.